Here in the Northwest Arctic, over the years, I've noticed that Inupiaq friends and acquaintances, when introducing themselves, have a way of starting with where they were born, their parents' names, and how they grew up. Without even noticing, I guess I absorbed that cultural way of considering myself. For me, now 50 years old, everything begins on a 2-mile-long bluff called Punaktoruk, where I was born and raised in a sod igloo along the Kobuk River. My parents, Howard and Erna Kantner, were not miners or teachers or homesteaders. They were just people who admired the old Inupiaq way of life. In that life, my brother and I were taught to skin animals, run dog teams, and do subsistence activities. Caribou and wolves, bears and wolverines, and other animals were significantly more common than humans. My family didn't wake up mornings and disappear to daily jobs and school. Mostly we all stayed home on the hill, cutting wood, scraping hides, drying fish, and hunting, which often meant waiting for food and furs to come to us. The nearest village, Ambler, was 25 miles away. Visitors, hunters, and travelers didn't show for weeks on end, sometimes longer, and were a welcome sight on the land. Nearly everyone we knew in Ambler and other villages hunted and fished, picked berries, and hauled firewood. Depending on the season, people were busy gathering various necessities from the country. Outsiders, who over the years appeared from the South, commonly referred to as white people, even if they happened to be black, Asian, or otherwise, would shake hands and, before long, invariably ask, "What do you do?" None of us were quite sure how to answer that strange question. In the villages and out on the tundra and along the river, most people didn't have careers. It made no sense why these outsiders all carried that question north. "We just live," is what folks replied, and shrugged and glanced at the sky to check the weather, and at the river to check if any animals were crossing. We just live. Just living is what these stories are about. Life here, and some of the characters living it, above the Arctic Circle and hundreds of miles from the nearest road. Locally, a seasonal nomadic lifestyle has always made sense. Villagers often boated to the coast in summer to escape mosquitoes and to fish. In winter, people roamed far and wide, trapping. In fall and spring, hunters from the coast traveled upriver and inland to find caribou and waterfowl. Around the time I turned 9, my family started fishing for salmon in Kotzebue Sound. It meant a 150-mile boat trip down the Kobuk and across the bay to camp at Nuvaruk, near other fishermen from villages around the region. It was there we first met Bob and Carrie Ewell, wise elders and friends who appear and reappear in my writings.